Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Crunch Time. It's a little bit of a special edition tonight. We usually aren't with you guys on Saturday nights, but it's unique. It's different. Scott and I have not been able to be with you guys for the last couple of days. I know Joe was thankfully able to get on board with Trent Dardick the other night and do a wonderful show on Thursday night to really kind of recap the day in sports. But Scott and I wanted to hop on and do just a little get-together in the first intermission of the Blues game tonight against Vegas. We'll sit here and help you drown your sorrows in that first period. Although the Blues did finally take a shot, so that's a positive. They did take a shot. Scott and I have both been incredibly busy this week with, for me, finals and work, and for Scott, well, let's just say work, because he had his hand in a little bit of everything this week. But we're both a little exhausted, but we wanted to make sure we jumped on here and talked to you guys about what's going on with Crunch Time and the brand going forward. But Scott, I know you're like me, tired, but really, how are you doing after this long week?
I'm tired, man. I'm definitely tired, just like you are. And this is weird. I haven't been on here in so long, I've almost forgotten how to do this. But yeah, it's good, man. The one good thing I can say is that I've been at the ballpark a lot, and I've seen a lot of good baseball the last week or so. So that's at least made it more tolerable.
Yeah, and the Cardinals, the first National League team to reach 20 wins. I don't know if I can sit there and say that I anticipated that being the case, especially with the way the Dodgers started, the firepower that San Diego possesses. I was a little shocked, to be honest, that the Cardinals are the first team in the NL to 20 wins, but they've looked good. They've had a couple of games that they probably should have won that they lost, but for the most part, dealing with injuries and kind of an inconsistent pitching staff for a little while, although the last week or so has been really good. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with what the Cardinals are at. And then they get Yachty back today, and in his first two at-bats, he collects 3 RBIs. So, I mean, you were on the ground. You had boots on the ground there and got to see it. Tell me a little bit about what you saw with this Cardinals team this past week that can give us some positivity and some hope going forward.
Well, real quick, talking about the 20-win thing. I mean, just think a couple of weeks ago, they were 8-10, and people were like, oh, this is the worst team. They're going to be horrible. I mean, they're 12-4 in their last 16 games, and I mean, the thing that's got me really excited is I love this offense, man. I mean, you look at this lineup up and down, and you're getting production 1 through 8. I mean, Harrison Bader looks like a completely different hitter. I mean, he's had 30 at-bats now in the last week. He struck out 4 times. I mean, he's taking pitches. He's not swinging at that pitch in the dirt. He's hit a couple of home runs, actually, off of those sliders that he usually swings at and misses. And, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of hits, but I'm telling you, man, he's hitting ropes everywhere. He's just had some bad luck. He's hitting line drives at people. But the guy's got 8 RBIs in 7 games. I mean, for a guy who's sitting 7-8 in your lineup, that's pretty damn good. And then, you look at DeYoung and Yachty and those guys. I mean, you looked at that lineup today, and you go from your 2 hitters got 16 RBIs, your 3's got 20, your 4's got 23, and then your 5, 6 have 17, and then your 7 guys got 12 now, and Tyler O'Neill, who's barely played. And then you've got Bader, who has 8. I mean, when you can do that up and down your lineup, there's just not an easy out on this team. And they're playing unbelievable defense, too. I mean, they're making 2 or 3 web jams every game, and it's different guys every night. It's just fun to watch. And then, the rotation's gotten better. And I know people say, oh, Alex Reyes drives me crazy. But, I mean, that kid's got 10 saves already. He's never been a closer before. He's got 10 saves. He gave up his first run today. I mean, he's just – this team is really good, and I'll be honest, when Joe and I did our predictions, I picked the Cardinals to have the best record in the National League at the end of the season, and right now they're looking pretty darn good. It's early, but they're looking good.
It is early, and going back to the offense, you talk about the 2 through 8 guys doing what they're doing. I mean, Tommy Edman has been a surprise as well. I definitely have to eat my words on that one. Not expecting that to have been the case. And then when you got pitchers that can hit 416-foot home runs like Jack Flaherty did the other day, that helps as well. You got a 1 through 9 that's actually doing that kind of offense. But yeah, just going back to Harrison Bader, Tyler O'Neill, both those guys that we talk about in the past, just struggling offensively. They've shortened their swings. They're getting better contact. They're seeing the ball better too. And like you said, even though they may not be getting a lot of hits, they're putting balls in play. They're hitting the ball sharply. So it's not wasted efforts in a sense. It's about them locking in. If they were up there flailing away and striking out a bunch of times, you would sit there and go, okay, yeah, it's same old, same old. But they're hitting into bad luck outs. And, people were saying that about Matt Carpenter this year as well, hitting into bad luck outs. He's, I think, now that everybody's kind of getting healthy, in the role that he probably should be in, which is that bench role coming off. Yeah, he hit the back-to-back 3-run home runs off the bench a couple weeks ago or a week ago. I think this team is starting to round into shape, and I don't know if there's much more you want to do as far as tinkering with this lineup at this point in time, because it's rolling on all cylinders.
No, absolutely. You don't want to mess with this lineup. You want to send those guys out there every day and let them play. And like you said, Carpenter's in that role. You got 2 really good left-handed bench bats. Justin Williams hit a pinch hit home run the other day. He's still taking good at bats when you get him out there. There's not a whole lot you want to do to this team to tinker with it. There's one move I want to make, and I know this is going to make a lot of people mad because I've seen a lot of comments, but we don't have a right-handed bat on our bench. We need that.
Is there somebody out there?
There's somebody out there. There's somebody out there. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I'm not sure that it won't either. But if you could somehow get Albert Pujols to say, I want to come back home, I want to put those birds on the bat back on one more time, and I'm okay, maybe playing first base every couple of weeks to give Goldie a break and be that right-handed pinch hitter. I mean, that could be the thing that puts this team over the top. I was talking to Dan Buffa about this the other day, and I said, can you imagine getting into the postseason? Who would you rather have coming off the bench in a key spot? John Nagowski or Austin Dean? Or you're sending Albert Pujols up there in the postseason to get a big hit? I mean, I think he's not the guy he was. He's never going to be the guy he was. He's 41 years old and he's worn down. But like Dan and I both said, if you get Albert in this ballpark with this crowd with a chance to win again, I think it's going to bring the best out of him. And I said, think of Will Clark in 2000. Everybody thought Will Clark was done when he came here, and look what he did. And I think that's what Albert could do if he came back here.
And it's not just a Will Clark. I mean, look at how much success they've had with guys that seem to have been on their last leg. I mean, Carlos Beltran kind of resurrected himself here. You had Larry Walker. I mean, yeah, he was still good in Colorado, but he was kind of on the downswing, but he came in and played for the Cardinals for a few years. There's been a lot of history when it comes to aging players coming to St. Louis, whether they have history with the team or not. And I think that would play even in more favor for Albert because he does have the history here. He did play here for so long, had that success with the Cardinals, that if he were willing to take that reduced role, yeah, he would also be making league minimum. So it's not like the Cardinals would complain about that. But if he takes that reduced role and like you said, spells Goldschmidt every so often, comes off the bench and is that kind of guy, puts the birds on the bat on for one last run, it could be something special. They could recapture that magic and go. The one thing I would be afraid of, and I don't think it would happen, but I would be afraid that he would come back here and it would be bad. And I don't think the legacy would be tarnished in any way, shape, or form because I think the fans would still give him a standing ovation every time he came to the plate. But I don't want him to come here and have just a bad ending to his career. With that being said, Nolan Arenado has basically come out and said, hey, yo, Albert, I love you, man. I hope you end the way that you want to end. That right there was a handout saying, come back. And then you have Yachty on Instagram doing the same thing. It's like the cards per se are lining up for him to come back, but it is kind of on him to say, look, I'll take the reduced role and not complain about it, because he does say he wants to play. And one team that I heard that could be in play is a team like the Cleveland Indians. I mean, if it comes down to Cleveland or St. Louis, where do you see him potentially making that decision? Because he could get playing time in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to come down to, what does he want? Does he want that chance to really have a chance to win again? What would it mean to him? I mean, I know a lot of people in St. Louis will say, oh, he never cared about the Cardinals. We know that that's not true. We know that Albert does. Those birds on that bat mean a lot to him. And if he had the chance to come back here and win, even in a reduced role compared to maybe having a little bigger role in a place like Cleveland, where, yeah, he's not going to get the same, if he goes anywhere else, he's not going to get the same applause from the fans. He's going to be a beat-down guy who's just, if he does something good, yay. If not, they're going to, oh, well, he's an old guy. So, I mean, I think everything lines up in a lot of ways for him to come back home. If he does have the opportunity, I know he wants to get to 700 home runs. And maybe that's the deal. Maybe the Cardinals say, okay, league minimum, come here, be the pinch hitter, do this year, and then next year we're going to get the DH in the National League. You come back, Nolan Gorman's probably going to be up here, but he's a young kid. You split time with him, you mentor him. I mean, that's the thing that you got to look at with Albert, what he could do. I mean, imagine what being around Albert Pujols could do for a Nolan Gorman, a Dylan Carlson. I mean, even Nolan Arenado, Paul DeYoung, Tyler. I mean, all of these guys, to have Albert around just to talk hitting and be, I think it would be huge. So we'll see. I mean, we're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks what happens, and it would be pretty cool to see number 5 back at Busch Stadium.
And it would play right into our theory about Yachty, Albert, and Wainwright going out one last time, one last hurrah, walking off into the sunset with potentially a potential championship run left in them. That would be the ultimate way to end it. Now, I do want to touch on one more thing before we move on to talk about the Blues real quick. He does have that 10-year service contract with the Angels when he is retired. Is there, I don't know if I haven't had a chance to look into it myself, but is there a way for him to get out of that, or is that something that will automatically kick in as soon as he retires? And then, so that's the other thing that worries me, is like he will retire a Cardinal, but then he goes right back to LA, and that's a little bit weird to me too.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff up in the air with that service contract. I've seen some reports that say, since he's been released, that contract may become null and void. I've seen that, even if it doesn't become null and void, it's up to him when he wants to do it. So it wouldn't necessarily be, he could do it 20 years from now. There's a lot of different kind of loopholes and things to it. So, I almost think that if he came back to the Cardinals, maybe he talks to the Angels and they work out some kind of a deal where he gets out of that, just because, I don't think the Angels envisioned when they did that I think they envisioned winning World Series. I think they envisioned championships. I think they envisioned all these things that never came to pass there. And so I think they may be willing to let him out of that deal, honestly, if that's what he wanted.
I could see that being the case as well. And what better way to bring Albert back and keep him here is if he could get out of that contract. All right. That's enough about the Cardinals. Like, once again, a big win today. They're 20 wins now. It's awesome. Continue, hopefully, to see really good games from them. Jumping over to the Blues real quick, they're in action against Vegas tonight. The first intermission is ongoing. The Blues trail 2-0 in the first period of this game. Golden Knights have 10 shots on goal. The Blues just have 3. Riley Smith and Stevenson get goals for Vegas in a short amount of time. But the big news is the fact that the Blues did clinch a playoff spot last night, despite losing in overtime to Vegas. Colorado beat LA yesterday to allow the Blues the chance to clinch. So the Blues are officially in the playoffs. Still no determination on who they're playing just yet. Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado are all still kind of fighting out for that top spot. The Blues are solidly locked into that 4th spot, so they will play the number 1 team in the West. In your mind, which team out of Vegas, Minnesota, Colorado would you want to play? Or are you of the mindset that it kind of really doesn't matter and you like the Blues' chances no matter what?
I don't know that it matters. I want to say that I like the Blues' chances no matter what. I can't say that though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it matters because I'm not sure they can beat any of those teams in a series because, again, they're still not playing great hockey. I mean, we've seen them do it in stretches, but they can't seem to keep it going for any amount of time.
And the amount of 3-1 leads that they've blown, even as recently as last night, it makes you go, okay, look, they've got the firepower to stick with teams, but do they have that will to step on their throat and finish the job? And part of it is, I mean, they're without a lot of guys. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko's out, Torrey Krug's out. You've got Sammy Blais out as well. You're putting guys like Zach Sanford into the top 6 roles that they're not really needed to be in. So they're doing a lot with a little. So that's why part of me can sit back and say, okay, if they get the guys back in the lineup, I could see them giving these other teams definite runs and maybe scaring them a little bit. I mean, I'd love to play Colorado first off. I'd love to play Minnesota right off the bat, but it looks like more than likely they're probably going to match up with Vegas. And, as evidenced by the last 2 nights, they still just can't seem to solve that Vegas enigma. But I still think they would have a chance if they get the full lineup out there. And that's the whole crux of it all. They have to get that lineup out there. And if they can't do that, if they can't roll Tarasenko out there, if they can't roll Krug out there, if they can't roll a Sammy Blais out there, I'm with you. I don't think they have the ability to put it together. That they can't seem to stay on that run like you're saying. They get to 2-3 wins in a row, and you're like, awesome. And then they go out and lay a clunker for some reason against a team like Anaheim, and you're like, come on. I think the big key for me will be the Monday night's game against LA. They'll have the playoff spot clinched, obviously. They may be resting some guys, but for me, it comes down to that LA game. And if they go out there and they lay an egg against LA, I'll be right there with you. I will expect a first-round exit.
Yeah. It's just been frustrating because, like you said, even, 2 or 3 times in the last month, we've been like, okay, here they come. They're starting to play really well. And then you see them have, they win 2 or 3 games. And then, like you said, all of a sudden they have a game where they have a 2 or 3 goal lead. And the next thing you know, they've lost that game. And then they go into a funk again. And, I don't know. I would love to think that if they got everybody back, they could make a run. But how many times have we said that this year? And then they get everybody back, and it takes a couple of weeks for them to get into a rhythm. They don't have that kind of time at this point to get everybody back and then get back into a groove. So, they've got to do it with what they've got and then hope that they can piece something together. But it's going to be rough. I mean, they definitely have the talent to do it. I hate to say that. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in this team from what I've seen this season.
Well, you know what? 2019, a lot of people didn't have faith in him as well, and they went on a run. So maybe that's a good indicator. And, the special teams have started to get a little bit off the hump as well. The power plays looked pretty good. The PK has done well as well, although the power play tonight, not so great. Gave up a shorthanded goal and just didn't look comfortable. But for the most part, the special teams have started to look good, and that was something that was key to that 2019 run was the penalty kill and the power play. So maybe, just maybe, we should keep underestimating this team and keep losing the faith, and maybe they'll prove us wrong. So we'll see how that goes. The second period of that game getting ready to get underway, and because of that, we're going to go ahead and talk about our big announcement real quick before we get out of here. Scott and I are absolutely thrilled to announce that starting on Monday at 7 o'clock in conjunction with ASTV Productions, we're going to be launching the Missouri Sports Show. And if you watch Crunch Time, we tend to talk about St. Louis sports a lot, but we try to focus on the national picture for, the NHL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, all of that. We try to focus on the national picture. Well, with the Missouri Sports Show, we are going to be focusing solely on Missouri sports and a little bit of the surrounding area, talking a little bit of Illinois sports as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about the Cardinals, the Blues, the Chiefs, the Royals, University of Missouri, SLU, U of I, just everything in the general area. And we're going to be bringing you some really, really cool interviews as well. And do you want to tease the interview that we'll be having coming up? I guess it'll be the 24th, I believe, of May, right?
Yeah, on the 24th of May, we're going to reach out across the state and talk to a guy who covers the Royals and has ties to the Cardinals in their pre- and post-game history, and that would be Mr. Joe Goldberg of Bally Sports Kansas City now. So Joe Goldberg will be on, and we'll be talking all things Royals and, maybe dig into some of his past memories of glory days in St. Louis as well. So it'll be really cool to talk to Joel. He's also written a book. He's doing a lot of public speaking. So it'll be a really good interview to hear about what he's doing with the Royals and then just in general, all the different avenues that he's gotten into in the last few years.
And it's going to be a lot of fun hearing from him because he was one of those before Jim Hayes was thrust in that spotlight. It was Joel Goldberg. So it'd be nice to see hear about the times back then as well. And like I said, we're just really, really excited to be able to bring you a little bit more of an in-depth look at the Missouri sports scene. And we'll dive a little bit deeper into some of the youth sports and the amateur sports as well. So it's not just going to be about the pros, but we're really, really excited about that. And we're really excited to continue to expand the brand of Crunch Time because just this past week, just the last couple of days, we actually crossed the 1,000 follower mark and the 900 like mark on our Facebook page as well. And we could not be happier with the fans that we have been able to cultivate and bring aboard, and we hope that you've been enjoying the products that we've been able to put out there for you. And to the past winners of our likes giveaways, we hope that you enjoy what you've gotten there. And for our 800 like group, your stuff should be arriving here in the next couple of days. We're going to get something really special put together for the 1,000 follower giveaway as well. We may have some AP5 stuff to give away as well. And maybe we can announce that when he announces his return to St. Louis. We'll see. But Scott, what are your thoughts on the expansion of the brand?
It's something that we've been kind of trying to work on now for a couple of months. It's exciting, and just like you said, I can't put it in too many better words, but just a huge thank you to everybody that's followed and liked the show and paying attention to us. It seems like here lately we've gained more and more likes and follows every day, and we can't thank all of those people enough, and especially the people that have been with us since the very beginning. So just a huge thank you for Wags and myself and Joe, wherever he may be, to everybody that's followed us for the last couple of years, and look forward to seeing how much we can expand and where this thing can go from here.
That is very, very true. And because we are expanding, we are always looking for new sponsors as well. I mean, we've got St. Louis Sports Co. and Pro Skate Pool and Landscaping that are sponsoring us currently, but we're always looking for more people to help us grow the brand and get your name out there as well. So if you know anybody that's looking to spread the word about their business or their services, let us know. We'll be more than happy to find a way to make something work out. And maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll have an announcement of our own as to some potential sponsors that are going to be joining us as well. So make sure on Monday at 7 o'clock, you join us on the Missouri Sports Show in conjunction with ASTV Productions. We're going to be premiering our very first episode of that. And then we'll have Crunch Time Nightly at 9 o'clock as well. That's going to be every Monday through Friday from 9 to 10. So make sure you catch that as well. And I'm going to go watch the rest of this Blues game before falling asleep. And final note before we get out of here, because we won't be with you tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. My mother, Scott, your mother, Joe, his mother, every mother out there. Have a happy, safe, and enjoyable Mother's Day tomorrow, because honestly, without you, there is no us. There's no fans. There's nothing. Tomorrow is all about the mothers, even though it is one day. It should always be about the mothers, but make tomorrow extra special. Scott, I hope you enjoy your Mother's Day with your mother, and I will certainly enjoy mine as well. So any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope, just going to second that. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and I hope you enjoy your day. And make sure to check us out. You're going to get tired of us. We're going to be doing a Monday show, a nightly show. You never know when we'll pop on, so just stick with us, even if you get tired of looking at our ugly mugs. We do appreciate it.
That we do. All right, well, for Scott, for Joe, I am Wags. Have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your weekend, and happy Mother's Day. We'll see you guys on Monday.
go.